This is Geometry Chapter 1, Lesson 3, Video B. We're going to look at planes in this video. Not planes like going to go fly in a plane, but a different type of plane. So let's go ahead and see what we're talking about. A plane is a flat surface. It has no thickness. The plane contains many lines and extends without end in directions of all of its lines. Okay, so it goes on without end. You name a plane, again, this is very important to know how to name these figures. Name a plane by using either, so we have options, a single capital letter or by at least 3 of its non-collinear points. Okay? Points and lines in the same plane are called coplanar. Okay? So some information here that's very important. When we're talking about a plane, it's a flat surface. Okay, planes have no thickness, so the top of a table would be considered a plane or part of a plane. They don't have any thickness, even though a countertop has thickness. We're not talking about the thickness, we're just talking about the surface itself on top. All right. Planes, like lines, go on forever, and they never end, and they go in all directions. So whereas a line just goes in opposite directions, all the points going this way and all the points going this way, a plane is all of these lines that go in every direction. And if lines go on forever and planes contain lines, well then planes must go on forever. So planes go on forever and they go in all directions. All right. Now how do we name a plane? 2 options. One single letter. Okay. A capital letter. Again, so a capital letter is a point. So basically, to name a plane, you need at least one letter, capital letter, that's listed. That's not a that is a point. It could be a point. It may not be a point, like in this example on the left, where they just have P, but there's no point associated with it. I could use point P, or this is the most common way we do it, and actually the way I prefer is that you use 3 points that are not on the same line. And this is important because they can't be on the same line, because if you name 3 points, you're just talking about a line, and a plane goes on forever off that line as well. So if you're just naming those 3 points that are on the line, it might be mistaken that it might be not include all the points that go everywhere else. So you have to use at least 3 points that are not on the same line. So you can either name it with a single capital letter. Okay, if you're going to use the single capital letter, you must use the word plane, because what else do we name with a single capital letter? A point. So if you just put down the letter A, how do I know, are you talking about point A or are you talking about plane A? And there's a big difference, because planes go on forever, points are just a location. So you can see that if you're going to use a single letter to name a plane, you must use the word plane with it to distinguish it from a point. Okay? Very important. So again, as I talked about earlier in another video, what you name and how you name is very important, that you're very specific, because you can confuse people if you're not specific in using the correct name and the correct number of letters and the correct symbols. Okay, so a way to avoid forgetting to use the word plane when you're talking about a plane and just leaving a letter is to always use 3 letters to name a plane. Now notice, very important, there is no plane symbol. You don't put anything above the letters. Remember, with a line, we use 2 letters with the line symbol above it. But with a plane, we just use 3 letters, no symbol. Okay? So make sure you are aware of that. Okay? Coplanar, at the very end there, co meaning together, so anything that's in the same plane would be considered coplanar. 2 points in the same plane, coplanar. 2 lines in the same plane, coplanar. Okay, these are lines or points that are in the same plane. So points A, B, and C here are coplanar because they're all in the same plane. Okay, now we can use parts of planes in order to represent some geometric figures. Remember, planes go on forever, so there's no way to actually draw a plane because it goes on forever in all directions. but we can use parts of planes to help us draw figures, like this cube here. Each surface is part of a plane. Why is it just part of the plane? Well, because the plane goes on forever, and I didn't draw everything. I didn't draw on forever. I just drew this portion of the plane if we're looking at the front side of this cube. Okay, so make sure, oops, sorry, all right, that each plane, or each is part of the plane. So name a plane that's represented by the, and just disregard this, we might, little figure. This fly is really bugging me. I wish I could get him. Okay, so let's practice naming planes. So let's look at the front face of the cube. So this face on the front. How would you name this part of the plane? Okay, again, you need to use 3 letters of 3 points that are in the plane, but as long as those 3 points are not, on the same line. So if you're having trouble seeing this, let me kind of shade this in for you a little bit. The front part of this would be this front part of the cube here. So this section here, okay, this plane that's the front of the cube, how would you name that plane? Okay, so we need to use 3 letters. Well, the 3 that are given to us, we could use either E, F, and B. So E, F, B would be one way to name it. How about I could use E, F, and A would be another way to name it. E, F, and A. I could use E, A, and B. Those 3 letters are in that, or those 3 points are in that plane. Or I could use B, A, F. Okay. Notice I'm using 3 letters and just 3 letters. Nothing else. No commas, no symbols, nothing else. Just 3 letters to name a plane. Okay. So let me go ahead and do another example here, or write another one here, and then go ahead and you can name it. I'll pause the video, or you can pause the video, and then I'll name it for you if you're having trouble seeing it. So name the plane represented by the right face of the cube. Okay, the right face. So just a hint, that would be over here on the right. How would you name that? Go ahead and do that. So I can choose from the letters F, G, C, and B, because all 4 of those points are on there. So any combination of those 3 letters, 3 of those 4 letters would be fine. So F, C, G would be one way to name the plane. Okay? All right, I think that about covers everything that I want to talk about with planes. The next video, we'll talk about postulates and axioms. So why don't you go ahead and try a few of the homework problems that have to do with planes, and then come back and watch video 3, and we'll wrap the rest of this lesson up doing that.